Hello, women, and those reasonable men among us. I am Franziska Giffey. I am now Federal Minister for Women and also Families since March, not that long, and I am delighted because I think it's part of the job that we should support women across Europe who are taking to the streets for solidarity, for women's rights, for fairness. I did this in my many years in municipal politics, and I'm happy to carry on doing it in federal politics. So, first of all, congratulations to all those active women who got this event together today, who've organised today, and who are simply here, not just here, but in many other places, in political life, in public life, everywhere that we have to get on men's nerves, because that's what this is about. I arrived in the federal ministry and found out that we have 150 projects to cope with, which is fantastic, but no one has a real overview. I said we need 3 real principles to work according to for the next 3.5 years. And the first one is we're going to work in such a way that we reach out to every child, no matter who their parents are. We're going to take care of those who care for others, whether voluntarily or in the social services. And the third thing, and today that's particularly important, is the principle that women can do anything. And I deeply believe that that really is true. We have to say it again and again. Wherever women's rights are not automatic, we cannot accept it, we cannot justify it, because we've made so much more progress than 100 years ago. 100 years ago, today, women in Germany didn't even have the right to stand for elections or to vote. And they were fighting for quite other things. In 1908, 10,000 women took to the streets for the right to vote in London, and a newspaper wrote, "They marched with great spirit and had the air of people who wish to win." And I think we have to keep that up today, with this great spirit and with this air of people who intend to win. In 2017, more than 1 million women took to the streets when a new president was elected in the United States to tell him what they thought of his misogynistic comments. And the actress Ashley Judd said in Washington, "We're not here to be despised, we're here to be respected." And here we are at the Brandenburg Gate, following this tradition of women calling for respect, following a tradition of women who have that great will, that great spirit, and intend to win. And we're standing here because we are concerned about current events in the world. Professors of gender studies in Hungary are being threatened, receiving death threats. The situation in Russia, where women who hit their wives following a law passed last year only have to make sure they don't hit them too hard, because then they only have to pay a fine of 80 to 450 euros if anyone reports them at all. In Turkey, the president says that women who are not mothers because they want to work are only half women. No, Mr. President, we are whole women, whether we have children or not. How we live, who we live with, who we marry, what job we choose to do. We need to defend the rights of women everywhere. And in recent days, we've seen it again and again. Nothing that women have fought for is now taken for granted. Not the right to vote, not the right to choose their job, not the right to choose their partner. Women and men must stand together on this. The reasonable men must stand with the women on this and say quite clearly that we will not put up with misogyny. Today is Europe Day, and in Europe there are quite clear rules about equal rights for men and women. It's a basic principle in Europe, and that is not up for negotiation, just as democracy is not up for negotiation. But we can see that in many places that doesn't appear to be the case. I come from a part of Berlin where we had quite a lot of practical challenges with women who experienced a lot of violence in the family, forced marriages, honour killings that either happened or were threatened. And we had to keep strengthening, supporting those women, supporting other women and saying, Let's go out, reach out to the girls and explain to them that they have a right to live freely and decide for themselves how they want to live. There are still 109,000 women every year who are affected by violence, murder, beatings, rape, sexual harassment, threats, stalking. And these are only the facts that are reported to the police. Probably that figure is much higher. We know from recent studies that 40% of women have at least once in their lives experienced physical and sexual violence. I've met women who have had this experience, and it's clear that when we say women can do anything, sometimes they can only do anything when they get our support. And that's why I am committed as the Federal Minister for Women that those protected homes, those shelters, those refuges for women will be strengthened, and we will upgrade that system with federal resources. Friends, women in the social services, in any social profession, command our respect and our support. In Germany, we have over 4 million people working in those social professions. 80% of them are women. This is an issue for equal rights, and they are often not well paid. They do work in poor conditions. We want to change that. Whether we're talking about teachers in nurseries to carers looking after the elderly. And first of all, that means we have to start where people decide, women decide to take on a job like that. They shouldn't have to ask themselves, can I afford to work in a nursery? So, an end to tuition fees, let's start paying people a training allowance. That's going to be one of my principles for the next 3 years, and I hope that women will support us in this. Well, ladies, gentlemen, reasonable gentlemen, grown-up gentlemen we've heard once today. The question of equal rights, which is what we're talking about today, isn't something for sunny days. We're going to be facing some real storms. And a few weeks ago, women in Ankara took to the streets. It was pouring with rain. The police attacked the demonstrators with tear gas and batons. It isn't always a sunny event when women demonstrate for their rights. It can actually put your life at risk, but it's important to be visible. And here from the Brandon Gate, we're sending out a signal, as somebody's already said. You are not alone. Women can do anything. Women can get on people's nerves. Let's get on people's nerves together. Let's not give up. And if men want to join us, we're very happy to take them along. And if not, we will nevertheless send out our stop sign and we'll do it together. I'm going to conclude with one of my favourite songs, a social democratic song from the Labour movement. It's Bread and Roses. We have it in German, we have it in English too. And it begins, as we go marching, marching in the beauty of the day. But looking around today, I'd say that's right. And the song ends, but a sharing of life's glories, bread and roses, bread and roses. So I hope we have a beautiful day, a sunny day, and we're going to fight for the bread, but we want the roses too. So let's share life's glories.